Welcome to Intuitive Seek. My name is Mary Train, and as an intuitive guide, energy healer, and meditation teacher, I aim to bring you a grounded approach to all things energy and intuition. Everything I share is with the hope to help you remember how your unique power of intuition is your own greatest teacher. Hello and welcome. Welcome to your Intuitive Week, your energy update for the week of May 11th. How are you? How has May been? How was the last week? Do you feel this changing, active, very potential filled, but sometimes a bit stressful energy? Are you noticing a certain area in your physical body has been impacted, maybe speaking to you in a way that you really need to be listening to? I know that has been an experience for myself, but then also many people that I've been connecting with as well. So, yes, if you haven't had the time to pay attention to what your body may be speaking to you, then I definitely encourage you to, because that was the message in the first week of May. That was the message for May. There was so much focus for May in the energy impressions from last week about the throat and our voice. And definitely listen to the overall month energy impressions because there's so much to this month ahead. But today we're focusing on this week. And let's dive in. Let's dive into this week ahead. I loved what came through in the meditation. I hope that it resonates for you. And this week has a very active, powerful energy. We have a new moon towards the end of the week. And yes, let's just dive into everything that came through in the meditation. And remember, these are for you to use as a way to develop the language of your intuition. So really trust when it resonates, trust when it really connects to what you are moving through in your life, and then trust when it doesn't resonate. Also important. So really using these energy impressions, energy updates as a way to develop and strengthen the trust in your intuition. So I'll share what came through in the meditation, and then I will share the animal for inspiration and some journal prompts, writing prompts to help us dive deeper into the energy. So when I first opened up the meditation, the person in the meditation that represents you and I, we were on a sandy shore next to the sea, but we were on the shore. And the water that was next to the shore, the seawater, it was moving not in a wave-like pattern or still. It was moving in a spiral, like a whirlpool energy. But we weren't being pulled into the water. We weren't being kind of sucked into this vortex of energy because it felt very extreme, the way that the energy was moving. But we were next to it. We were on the grounded sand, but right next to this very intense spiral, whirlpool, vortex energy. And this really feels like a symbol that for this week, we need to be aware. Well, many things, but first, we need to be aware when there may be drama or intensity happening near us to not get sucked into the drama. Water can really represent our emotions, and the imagery in the meditation with that depth of intense energy in that spiral motion, this could be guidance about the emotional intensity, about the spiraling of emotion that we could be near or experiencing, and that we do have a choice whether to cross that threshold into the water, jump into the drama, whether we jump into it, into that emotional energy, that whirlpool, or not. And this could also be a symbol of two facets or parts of ourselves. The part of ourselves that can really stay steady on the shore and kind of watch but not take part, or the part of ourselves that can be really pulled into a spiral of emotion, spiraling of emotions that could pull us so far away from the grounded edge of the shore. So it does feel like, because of the intensity of that emotional energy, the symbolism of it, pay attention this week to your reactions. Pay attention to when you are reacting. Pay attention to that energy of, why are you reacting so strongly? Where are you? Who are you even speaking to or yelling at or reacting to? It's that don't be a jerk energy that we've had before, but it's been a minute and it was felt in this meditation. Just really pay attention to when you kind of feel like you might be going into a territory of being a jerk. But also, don't let a jerk make you a jerk. Like, don't allow somebody else, maybe being a total jerk to you, make you turn around and use your reaction to spread that emotional intensity. It's reminding me the energy of to be wary of. It's reminding me of a cartoon from the 50s, a newspaper cartoon, and it has 4 panels. And the first panel is a boss yelling at a man, at his employee. And then the second panel is the same man yelling at his wife at home. And then the third panel is the wife yelling at the son. And then the fourth panel is the son yelling at his dog. And it really showcases the ripple effect and the impact and the velocity of that kind of misguided aggression. So be very aware of any misguided aggression, because anger is not bad, but misguided anger is incredibly harmful. But this doesn't mean ignore your feelings. It means that this week we pay attention to whether we're putting our words into action or if we're just fully in reaction mode and we're not putting any thought behind why we are speaking in a certain way. It's a very ungrounded energy. And because it feels so ungrounded for this week, how are you grounding your energy? What do you need to do to stay anchored and embodied? There's a potential, but there's also a highlight for more grounding, like potential for ungrounded energy, but a highlight to make sure that you are aware of when you are not feeling grounded. Because we can't be grounded and anchored and centered and embodied all of the time. But do you know how to get back to it? If you've joined any of my live meditations before on Insight Timer, I always share beforehand that if you get distracted by an outside noise, by your own thoughts, anything, use it as a practice to come back to your focus, come back to your center, to find your breath, because in the world, we are constantly being distracted and our focus being pulled away, and thousands of things to create an ungrounded energy. So, how are you grounding your energy? Do you have a way, a quick way to kind of get back into your body? The nose breathing and then exhaling out of the mouth, humming, bringing awareness to your feet and really feeling that connection you have to the earth. Maybe you can even feel the connection to the energy of the earth in your physical feet. Like, really make sure you have that plan. Like, what do you do when everything around you is in an intense, energetic pull of force? When you're feeling that force that's pulling you so far away from yourself, how do you get back? And that was kind of the simple message in the meditation because we were walking and standing on the shore with that intensity of the spiraling water next to us, but we weren't moving into it like at all. We were fine and steady and grounded, even though we were right next to it. So pay attention to when you might be in a situation this week similar to that feeling, when something right next to you is pulling you away. And then the next thing, the imagery of us being on the shore. So this felt specific to this week because the space between the land and the sea, this is a very liminal space. Some of us may be feeling that, maybe experiencing that depth of in between energy, that we are waiting for something to happen, that we're getting impatient, we're doubting, we're overthinking, we're letting criticism and judgment percolate through our days. If that's you, if you're noticing that, or you notice that more this week, then let me offer you a bit of a different perspective because these in between times that we can find ourselves in, because we are alive and we're moving through big cycles and small cycles, and everything cannot be moving forward all of the time. The in between time, the threshold, that is some of the most incredible energy to connect with. It can be the most frustrating, but if you look a bit deeper, it is immensely creative. So many cultures see the space between the shore and the water as a portal, where the fairies are, where the divine meets, where heaven and earth connect. This is portal energy. So imagine if you are having that frustration, even a little bit, if you resonate with this, imagine if you have access to a portal this week, a portal that you get to name. Where do you wish that portal would bring you? If you stepped through, where would you be? And the answer to that question can really help you see what you need to be focusing your attention on. Because this week, this intense emotional energy, this liminal space energy, this make sure you're feeling really grounded energy, these are all pointing to a week that can be a very big week for you. A big week to gain clarity that you have been waiting to receive, to gain a view on old inspirations through a new lens, to feel a strength you haven't felt in years, to feel confident, to feel like you have more strength and support in your own energy through boundaries and protection, that you have maybe a whole new perspective on what you used to fear is now not scary at all. What is this very powerful energy showing you this week? Because we also have a new moon at the end of the week, towards the end of the week, or on Saturday at the end of the week. And this is such a great time. This energetic support of the new moon phase, the new moon in Taurus. And Taurus, this new moon in Taurus, the astrology can really inspire us to focus on the new beginnings that we want to feel and see and understand and receive around that grounded, embodied energy. So coming back to yourself, understanding the worth the innate worth without having to earn it, understanding security and safety from within, knowing that the resources you have, your unique gifts and talents, that they are never ending. They're constantly renewing. And it's honoring and respecting that this new moon can really highlight where you may need to focus on. Staying centered, regardless of the outer world or right next to us. Not spinning out of control when you feel like you don't have any control. When you're feeling impatient or frustrated, like I said, if you're feeling like you're in that in between space, this is the energy that can help you realize, oh, I'm freaking out because I'm forgetting that all I have to do is trust. Trust myself and trust every step that I take. So, yes, this is such a great time on the weekend, a little, a few days before, a few days after. Bring focus to what seeds you are planting for the next month, but also the next 6 months with those themes that Taurus can inspire. And this could be that portal. This could be that portal energy that you connect with. And by clarifying your intentions, you are already beginning to step through. And don't forget to surrender. Remember, May is all about surrendering to receive, surrendering to the process, surrendering to yourself, surrendering to overthinking, surrendering to the unknown, giving back, to remove the focus and all of that tight energy that you're holding on to, giving some of it back, giving it to God and the universe, and just opening yourself up from feeling like you're doing it all on your own. And then the animal that came through for this week is the skunk. A very cute, fluffy skunk right next to us on the shore. Now, not the animal you would expect to see on a shoreline, but this is the shoreline in the field, in the ether. So, of course, there would be a skunk there. And I love that the skunk showed up because the energy of the skunk symbolizes self respect, humility, empowerment, new beginnings, self esteem, protection, boundaries, healing, adaptability, patience, fearlessness, unique gifts, and transformation. And every animal in 2026 has represented some form of transformation or metamorphosis. And remember, May is the 5th month. 5 is the energy of freedom and adventure and change through inspired action. So maybe the transformation that the skunk is reminding you to focus on is through your inspired action. And it's part of being fearless and honoring your unique gifts, making sure that you feel respected and feeling empowered. And it's such a great energy. And if you've never connected with the skunk before and this feels like, oh, this really resonates, I suggest meditating with the energy. And all that means is you get nice and still and you close your eyes and you bring to your mind, allowing your imagination to be a translator for your intuition. And you imagine a skunk and you just watch in your mind's eye, follow, see what the skunk does. Maybe it will even say something, show you something. Like, allow your imagination to open up this energy for you. You may be really surprised at how easy it is. And there was this excerpt from Animal Speak that I enjoy sharing from. And this is by Ted Andrews. And here is the excerpt that really stood out about the skunk. The skunk is one of the most widely recognized mammals, but it's also one of the most misunderstood. It is very powerful with mystical and magical associations. Just look at how people respond to it. They show great respect for it and what it can do. This is part of what the skunk teaches. It teaches how to give respect, expect respect, and demand respect. It helps you to recognize your own qualities and how to assert them. It is self assured and confident in itself. If skunk has shown up, it can help you with this particular aspect of self assurance and confidence. It can teach you how to be more self assured and how to assert yourself. Skunk helps us learn to balance the ability to draw and repel people. There is a natural cycle. The skunk is a solitary animal for the most part. Skunks can remind us that there are times best for drawing people in, and there are times best to avoid. Finding the correct balance is what can ensure prosperity. Skunks are fearless, but they are also very peaceful. They move slowly and calmly, and they only spray as a last resort. When skunk shows up, you are going to have opportunities to bring out new respect and self-esteem. So after hearing about the themes of skunk and then also more delving into the symbolism, how does the skunk inspire you? What did it make you think of? Where did it bring you in your life? Because also, don't forget, the skunk is on the ground. It is so grounded. Another reminder to get grounded, remember how to be grounded, and stay anchored. Be on the earth. Don't get swept away. And the last time we had the skunk, when I looked, it was the week of August 11th, 2025. So last year. And the pattern of 11s is pretty cool because 11 is a master number, also very spiritual. A lot of people love the repeating 1111, but 11 is a master number in numerology, and it's the symbol of the wounded healer. And if you know astrology or mythology, it's the energy of Chiron, transmuting your wounds into gifts and resources for yourself and to share with others. And in your birth chart, the symbol looks like a key and very much connected. The mythology and the archetype energy of Chiron is very much connected to the one-on-one journey I offer, which is called the key, which is inspired by transmuting your wounds into your gifts. And one more thing about 11 is my personal numerology is an 11. So I do know the energy very well. And this repeating 11 could also be a reminder to you to see where your gifts and the resources you carry from the depth of pain and experience that you've been through, how you can use those now or share them and maybe see them from a new perspective or a new view. But also look at any recurring themes from mid-August last year. Maybe how much you've changed, how much you've shifted. Maybe about how you see yourself or your life or your routine or your habits. Maybe something you were going through then, you now have a full new perspective on. So a lot of inspiration from the skunk this week. And we cannot ignore the black and white coloring of the skunk, the yin and the yang, the dark and the light, the balance. So paying attention to where you're feeling out of balance, that could also be a big focus for, oh, well, if I'm feeling out of balance, how can I get more grounded? How can I get more centered? Am I not paying attention to where my energy is? Am I not paying attention to my respect? Am I feeling disrespected? Am I in that in between space and I'm not honoring it with focusing on the creative energy that's opening up? So many things that you can be inspired by. And now let me share some writing prompts, journal prompts to really help you dive deeper into the energy. You can also send a voice note to yourself, whatever feels right. But it does make a difference when we take a bit of time to answer questions like these or ones that came up for you during the episode. It's another way to come back to yourself. So, a first question could be, what do you need to stay grounded and embodied? How do you come back to your center? Like, really remind yourself. And if you're not sure, there are so many ways. So many ways. But a few ways is through meditation. And you can go to my Insight Timer page, grounding meditation there. Any of my Reiki healing meditations can help, especially for the root. My Finding Your Breath meditation, that one can really help. It's only 4 minutes, but it's how you can find your breath again and come back to yourself again. I'll say it over and over again, kind of the theme of the week. But yes, what do you need to stay grounded and embodied? And number two, where do you desire more respect and where could you give more respect? And what does this show you? And number three, what in between space, what liminal space are you moving through? And if it were a portal of energy, where do you wish to go? Where do you wish this in between space to move you towards or into? And number four, create a new moon letter with 5 intentions inspired by May, 5 intentions written in the present. So, example would be statements with I am, or I have, or I see, or I feel. Really reflect on what you are thankful for, and then write down those 5 intentions in the present for what you desire to grow, receive, and experience. And when you're done, say them out loud. Say them out loud and let the vibration of your voice be part of the magic of your words. And that brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you so much for listening to Intuitive Seek. And I would love to hear if you resonated with any of the energy that I'm feeling that we're moving through for this week of May 11th. And any other thoughts or questions, please don't hesitate to send me a message through my website, treenlight.com, or through my Instagram at treenlight. All the links are in the show notes for all the ways that you can explore working with me or the resources I have for you. I do have one space for the key starting in June, and that is my 4 month journey of healing and discovery and transformation. It is truly life changing, and I only say that because it's said over and over again in my testimonials. So if you need some support to literally change your life, then reach out. And if you feel called to give some support to the podcast, then please share this episode with a friend, or you could leave a review. People are so review fatigued, and I get it, but it also really helps. So if you have not, they love a 5 star. So if you feel called to give a 5 star review to the podcast, I would appreciate it so much. So thank you again. Be extra kind to yourself and others, and I will talk to you next week.